Hi, I'm Darrell from Sungrand. I'm the developer of the Silver Falls games. Thanks for stopping by. Today I'll be sharing gameplay of Gaiden Deathly Delusion Destroyers for the Nintendo 3DS. Hopefully that will be launching on the Nintendo eShop soon. So, what I'll be doing today is taking a look at some of the characters, doing a character analysis in terms of the characters' movesets, their strengths and weaknesses, what applications they can serve on your team, and we'll be putting those characters in some battles and seeing how we go with the battle system and dealing with some enemies, and hopefully we can win some pretty good loot and reward. So I know there's a number of favorite characters that people have been asking about, and so I won't be running it on just a standard 3DS hardware today. I'm recording this so we can all have a look at gameplay together. Don't mind me if I sort of turn my head sideways. I have to look at a screen that's kind of sideways on my computer here. So we have our main character, our protagonist, Gus, and the story revolves around Gus a little bit here. So what we're going to do is we'll have a look at his moves first. So every time you come to the campsite, the music can be a bit different. I'll just lower the music in case it's a little bit too loud. So the music is comprised of different instruments. When you return to the camp, different instruments will play, so it sounds different and interesting each time you come to the camp. You'll see that characters come to the campsite as well, and when you sort of speak to the characters, you'll see that they have something different to say, and they'll often bring items. So that can be very useful. So if you see party members at your campsite, do make an effort to talk to them by just touching them on the touch screen, and you'll get supplies which can be materials for upgrading. They might give you items for battle, or they might even bring you weapons and armor. You touch the campfire here, but there is no campfire. It's sort of daytime at the moment. Open that up, and we will check out our character here. So if you look at Gus, you can see a readout on his HP, his power, his charge speed, and your charge speed is how quickly your charge energy builds up. In order to perform attacks, you have to use charge energy. Your abilities require charge energy, and they only consume a certain amount. Your normal attack, your basic attack, uses up your entire charge meter, and it's stronger depending on how much charge you have built up. So if you have a look at the haha, if you have a look at the lower section here, you'll see that there are percentages for the equipment. So if you equip Gus with a shirt, he'll get a 120% boost on that. But he doesn't really care that much about jackets, so that's only a 90% effect of jackets, a 90% on hat, and a 90% on shoes. But he does get a boost on jewelry, and on gloves he gets 110%. So every character will have equipment that they prefer. You can see we have uses heavy melee, so there is only one type of weapon each character can use, and then there are numerous weapons in that category, and he has a strong soul. So what does the soul mean? Now, if you have a look at the top screen, you'll see that it says today's soul type is lonely. So if a character has a lonely soul type, then they will have access to their soul ability, and they will also get a 50% boost on their stats. Let's go ahead and see if we have any lonely characters in our roster at the moment. We have Dodger, who is a brave soul, so he doesn't fit. And we have Rich, who is artistic, that doesn't fit. Oh, Shelby is wistful, so she doesn't fit. Let's go ahead and find someone who is lonely. So if we click on our slots here, we'll select Shelby's slot. We'll switch her out. We have Dr. Sparrow here. He's lonely. Who else do we have? We have Georgia, and we have Bull Brandish. Let's have a look at Bull then. Bull's lonely. He's level 1. We have level 0 and level 0 here. So when we look at Bull's stats, naturally he's quite strong. He's only level 1. Gus is level 5, and his power is, let's see, 28. And Bull is level 1, and his power is 22. So we might want to level these characters up a bit while we're playing today. He also uses heavy melee, the same as Gus. And you can see shirts, he gets a 130% boost on that. Jackets, not so much. He doesn't do great with jackets. He only has a 60% on that. But on vest is 120. Hats are 130, which is pretty great. Shoes, again, are a bit low. Does well with gloves. Not great with eyewear or jewelry. He only gets a 60% on those. So he's a bit more of either a positive or a negative. He's less balanced when it comes to other characters using equipment. So you'll find that these preferences for equipment are based on that character's actual personal style. So it builds into the characterization, and it just shows that maybe Bull really likes hats and he doesn't like eyewear. So there we go. He has an ability. Oh, right here. Every character has, or not an ability, a skill that's built in. And so every time he is revived, he gets his charge meter filled up to 50%, which is pretty great. That's quite useful because his charge speed is generally quite low, and you do need some help, whether it's through the use of items or if you have party members that use Encourage to fill your charge meter, or party members that can boost your charge speed for you. If we have a look at Gus on his healthy charge, every time he's healed, he gets 30 filled up on his charge meter, which is pretty crazy. That's extremely useful. Let's see here. Dodger has a trick attack. Let's see. So every time he uses an item, he performs an attack, which that's one of my favorite kinds of abilities. He uses throwing weapons. And let's see here, his equipment. Right. We almost always see Dodger wearing a jacket, so naturally he has a 125% boost on jackets. Let's see. And let's pick one more character here. Let's go ahead and get, you know what launched recently? Ghoul Busters launched a couple of months ago. Let's go ahead and find Atticus. Let's see here and have a look at Atticus. So we'll have a look at his proficiencies. We'll check his ability. So his power +4 on wake up, which is pretty wild. That's great. Good for him. It's a great ability. But you can see he's at level 0, but naturally his power is only at 10, which is it's not great when you compare that to Bull, who has 22 and he's only one level higher. So naturally there's going to be some balance. Atticus is quite faster than Bull, and he has much more range as well. So comeback power, and let's see, doesn't do great with jackets, but he gets 130% on the vest. He gets 120 on the shoes. Everything else is pretty balanced, really. 80% on the hat there. So let's go ahead and have a look at our abilities now. So I'm going to look at the third slot on the list where there are icons filled in. Those are your abilities. There we go. So the top ability, you always have access to that. So Gus has Sand Throw. So it has very good range. It lowers the enemy's speed by 2. So that means the enemy's movement speed is slower. And also, while they're attacking you, their rate of attack is decreased as well. So that's very important, especially when you're in a boss fight where the enemy's hits are dealing significant damage. If you can reduce their speed, they're hitting you less often, which means it gives you a chance to build up your energy and more chance to put in your defensive buffs and to heal. Let's see. And it also stuns for 3 seconds, which is great. Let's see, Stony Gaze, and that's a soul ability. So you can see that there's a red X over that, which means I don't have access to that ability. Why don't I have access to that ability? Well, that says soul in the corner. So you only have access to that ability if your soul type matches the daily soul type. And every day the soul type changes. And we have the ultimate ability. We'll have a look at Stony Gaze. For Stony Gaze, is it boosts your technique. So anything that's a non-physical attack, like if you're doing an elemental attack like Electro or Cryo or Flame, those rely on your technique stat. So Stony Gaze, let's see, it boosts your own technique, and your defense is +20. So Stony Gaze does apply to Sand Throw because it's a non-physical attack. You can think of it like magic, since this is an RPG battle system. In his ultimate ability, you only have access to your ultimate ability if you defeat a boss that has your ultimate ability or that character's ultimate ability, and you defeat that boss, and it gives you 7 days with that ability. After 7 days, the character loses access to the ability, but you can hopefully encounter another boss that has abilities, that same ability, and you can get it again. So Rocket Uppercut boosts your own technique, and it's charge speed +40, which is pretty wild because that's going to speed you up significantly. So it's sort of meant to depict this ability that each time you use it, it gets stronger and stronger, and you get faster and faster because you can perform it more often. So that will increase your ability like Sand Throw. Let's see, and Courage. it boosts your ally's charge by 25. That's great if this character, if you place him next to a slower character like Bull, who isn't very fast. When you use Encourage, it fills up that character's charge meter a bit. So let's go through the daily ability. Daily abilities change every single day of the week, and that makes it so every character feels fresh all throughout the week. They could actually fill in different roles based on the day of the week. Some characters might be a little less useful on some days, and other days they'll be extremely useful, but that makes it feel interesting to build new parties every single week with different characters. You're very unlikely to have just one character and they'll be your strongest character, or just one party with your strongest characters, because the battle system doesn't let you do that. The missions change every hour, every day, and every week, and you'll have to keep rebuilding new teams, and of course the day of the week determines what ability they have. So Sunday you have Oil Spray. It's quite good, and that stuns your enemy for 3 seconds, and then it lowers the enemy's flame resistance. So it's good if you're building a team, if you have a character with Oil Spray, to pair them up with a party member or a team member who has flame abilities. For example, Annalise has access to the Flame Shot and Flamethrower. So if you put her on the team with Gus and you have Gus use Oil Spray, the enemies are going to take significantly more damage from Annalise's flame attacks. She has an ability where she can sprint and speed up, so she can actually start spamming flame attacks. So if you're going up against difficult enemies with high HP levels, that's a strategy that you can use to get through difficult missions. You have Team Oil Amplify, which boosts the power of oil attacks. You have Spank, which reduces the enemy's defense by 30. So when you go up against enemies with high HP counts, it's going to be a matter of who takes who down first, and lowering an enemy's defense is pretty vital if you're going to get through enemies that can dish out damage very quickly. Well, let's see, Slapdown, so it reduces the enemy's power by 30. So those are two different abilities. They're two sides of a coin, and they're both very useful depending on the mission that you're taking on. Encourage. So again, we had a look at that, and that one again, the red X disappears and the skill sort of window becomes highlighted and colored because to indicate you have access to that ability. On Friday, you have Tear Off Shirt, which boosts your own power by 70%, but it lowers your defense by 40. That's a great ability to use. There are some some characters that have an ability that can taunt an enemy, and you can pull the enemy towards you. So that means that they won't attack your other party members. And that is a great way to use Tear Off Shirt because you're going to be very vulnerable once you use this ability. Toughen Up, it boosts your own defense by 70% on Saturday. So you can see those are two opposite abilities. But that's a great way. This is absolutely vital. And this is meant to be, a boss fight ability, because enemy boss fights can do major damage pretty quickly. Being able to boost your defense by 70% is absolutely important. So that is Gus. So you can see he doesn't have great crowd control, and he's very much a boosting character. So he boosts his own stats, and it's quite significant what he can do. Let's just have a look at Bull Brandish. So we have Stomp Kick. It's just a standard attack. There isn't really any special description, but it's quite strong. And we have Lumberjack Kick, Lumberjack Stomp. So Stomp Kick is going to be stronger than Lumberjack Kick, Lumberjack Stomp, sorry, but Lumberjack Stomp has special effect, and it boosts your own power by 10%. It doesn't sound like that's that much, but you can keep using this ability again and again. So if the fight rolls on for a while, you can just, keep using this ability, and after a couple times, your power is boosted by 20, 30, 40, 50%, and you can keep going. You can use this as your standard attack, and it's quite useful. So it does damage, and it boosts your attack. His ultimate ability, and you can see the soul ability is highlighted in purple. So that means I have access to that ability, and that is because Bull has a lonely soul type, and the day is lonely. All right, we have Moonbreaker as his ultimate, and that it does immense damage. It hits a pretty wide area, and the enemy's defense is lowered by 20. Again, if you're taking on bosses, you really need access to your ultimate abilities because they have much more utility than the standard abilities, and also they're generally cheaper to use. So you can use your ultimate abilities more often. Let's go ahead and start from the very beginning. So on the first day of the week, Sunday, Bull has access to Flamethrower. Oh, he also has Stony Gaze, again, that boosts your own technique and your defense by 20. You have Lumberjack Roar, so your enemy's power is minus 20%, and then air and light resistance is minus 15%. So that's pretty good. You can pair that ability up with party members who have air or light-based abilities, and that will be quite useful. You have Manly Shouts. That, again, is a taunt. It attracts the enemies to you. And then also the air and light resistance for the enemies is reduced by 25%. I have a cockatoo that is trying to break into my house, so you might hear my dogs barking at him. He's trying to break into the house right now. Let's see. On Thursday, which is today, Bull has access to Flame Bomb. So it does pretty fair damage. It covers a wide area and it reduces the enemy's defense by 10%. Let's see, Friday we have Flash Bomb, so it stuns the enemy 7 seconds, and your sound resistance is reduced by 30, which is quite good. So your light attacks, your flash and your light abilities generally are not that strong, but they're usually based on stunning the enemy for a while. So that gives you a chance to build up your charge, and it gives you a chance to actually look around the battlefield and just figure out what you need to do pretty quickly. And we'll get into a battle pretty quickly now so we can see this stuff all working. You have Muscle Flex, so it boosts your own power by 30, which is quite good. So you can see Bull, again, he doesn't really have great um, uh, area of effect. He doesn't have great crowd control, but he's quite strong. He just has raw damage output. His self-boosting isn't as good as Gus's, but he can pull enemies towards him with Manly Shout, which is quite great. And he opens enemies up to take more damage from air and light. But he doesn't have those abilities himself. He has to rely on someone else for that. Let's go ahead and just quickly put on some equipment. What have I got here? Let's see. So do I have a heavy weapon? All right, I'm just going to very quickly put some equipment on. And throwing weapon. Let's see. Oh no, I don't think I have a throwing weapon on hand. I guess I don't. I won't get to put one on. I'll have a look at abilities. So if you have, or skills. So if you have a look at the blue text, those are the skills. So for example, if you look at Autumn Jacket, I'll go ahead and click on the comeback defense, and it says defense +4 on wake up, which is pretty great boost. So that means if you get defeated in battle and then you are revived, you'll have a +4 defense. That activates every single time you're revived, and it can keep building up. So if you're facing a difficult boss, um, this is a great ability to, or a great skill to have, because if you get knocked out, you can be revived, and then you'll take even less damage each time. So it's a great for long-term fights. But I just had a look at it. That's charge speed -3, which is pretty brutal. Let's see what my hat. I'll just give him a hat since Dodger likes hats. We've got a bow for Atticus here. We've got longbow, short bow. The short bow has Avenger. Let's see what Avenger does. And it says restore own health when ally defeated. That's pretty great. We'll go ahead and equip that and give him, sort of armor do we have? He likes vests. We've got Maverick's vest here. Oh, what's healthy trick shot? So let's have a look at the ability on the Wrangler's shirt. I'll click on that, the healthy trick shot, and it says attack when healed. Okay, that's a pretty rad ability. I'm gonna go ahead and equip that. But if you click on some equipment and you hit enhance, you can see that if you have enough materials, I don't have any materials, but if you have materials, you can enhance that and you can increase the rank, and it puts the level up by 1 as well, but it says I have insufficient material. So maybe hopefully my party members will bring some materials to the campsite and I'll earn some materials from missions as well. So get something for Bull here. Oh, I don't think I have. I've run out of heavy melee weapons for him. So maybe I'll look for a mission that has a heavy melee. All right, well, we'll want to speed him up. So let's see, I can give him a +3 on charge speed. There's a +4 there. I'm going to give him the hippie sandal. So the hippie sandals lowers your defense, but you can see your charge speed is great. That's a good way to balance out characters who have slower charge speed. So let's go ahead and hop into a battle now. Actually, I'll very quickly, uh, put an item on. How about that? And we'll see healthy trick shot work. Okay. And then hopefully, if all goes well, if there are no weird glitches or anything, then we'll see this ability activate. So we'll put those items on those characters, and then, yeah. All right, let's go in to a mission. So the missions will tell you what item you get and what weapons are strong. So say, for example, if I open this mission, if you have a long gun, then they'll deal extra damage, and it lets me know I'll get some metal as my reward, as a material. Or you can get some athletic pants. So you can hit refresh now. I'll do it. And you can see it's changed the enemies, it's changed each mission entirely. That means that handguns will do more damage. Let's see, heavy melee will do more damage. So this is good for my party right now because that means Gus and Bull will do more damage, and I'll get a backpack, and I'll get some pants. But I want my reward to be a heavy melee. Right, here's a heavy melee. I'll get a weapon for Bull. This is good. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. And I'm only fighting rats and crows. They're going to be quite easy for me to fight. So, okay. We'll do a battle here, and then we'll see how well we do. I'm not fully equipped, so my character's, Bull doesn't have a weapon. So if you have a coffee, go ahead and feel free to enjoy that as well. All right. Rats and crows are pretty fast, so they don't give you much time to build up your charge and your hit. So let's see, I have Startling Shout. Let's go ahead and knock this enemy back. Bull did 136, and Gus did 767. So you see what happens if you don't have equipment. You really need equipment to do significant damage. Also, Gus is level 5. Everyone else is level 1 and 0. So, and Bull's taking some hits here. Startling Shout. I didn't have a look at Atticus. Let's see what Startling Shout does. All right, so that pulled enemies towards him. So you see the enemies have stopped attacking the other party members and it's pulled them towards Atticus. So that's a good ability to have. You can protect your party members with it. What does Dodger have? All right, so Bull's finally got some energy built up. He's got Flame Bomb projectile. Let's go ahead and check out Flame Bomb. So you can see that did a fair amount of damage. Now, Gus does have that oil ability on some days, so if we did that, then we would be able to do more damage. So Atticus is taking damage. We're going to go ahead and see if that ability activates, or if that skill activates. So this is an item that heals the whole party. So we healed the whole party. Okay, something happened. I need to have a look at what happened. It didn't activate, so we'll see here. Sure, did I even equip the right item? I don't know. But Dodger has an ability where when he uses an item, he attacks. That's trick attack. So that one did activate. So let's go for it. Okay. So that will look pretty easy. I'll do once I have some equipment on everyone, I'll do a tougher battle, and then we'll see what it looks like to be a bit more challenging. So every time you complete a mission, you'll get a bit of story here. I'll just rush through it. You can have a look at the story. I'm gonna breeze through this, and you can have a look at the story and enjoy the story on your own time. Here we go, and you'll find your party members will show up and they'll join your team, and then it'll keep opening up more options and more strategies for you to employ. This is my developer save. I already have all of the characters unlocked. Let's go ahead and talk to Maverick up there. All right, Maverick's giving us some Miracle Cream. That's pretty nice. Let's see. Fred's given us a Falcon Fang shirt. Thank you, Fred. And this is a character that hasn't been revealed yet, so we'll find out who this is in due season. And we brought the bracelet. Okay, pretty cool. All right, let's go ahead and get a weapon for Bull. So what did we get? Did we get the Long Claw? Is that it? Okay, no, I don't have any materials to enhance. Go ahead and equip that. And Dodger. I still don't have a throwing weapon. Let's go ahead and do a mission now and try and get a throwing weapon. Let's have a look at Dodger's abilities. So he has a Shuriken Storm, so it stuns enemies for 2 seconds. It's a pretty nice wide-ranging attack. You've got Trick Shot, and that boosts your own technique. So every time you use Trick Shot, your technique goes up by 40%. So you can keep using this ability again and again. It'll be stronger every time you use it. You have Knives Tornado, which stuns for 3 seconds. That's your ultimate. And that's what's great about this moveset is if you have your soul ability and your soul ability does affect your ultimate ability. So your ultimate ability will get stronger by 40% every time you use Trick Shot. So Dodger's a great character for this self-boosting strategy. So today's got Thunder Gun. But we will go to the beginning of the week. So we have Eagle Eye, and that boosts your own technique by 30%. And how that's different from the soul ability is Eagle Eye is cheaper to use, so you can use it more often. It uses less of your charge energy. It uses less of your charge energy, but it doesn't do any damage, whereas Trick Shot does damage the enemies. Let's see. We have Electro Bomb, which stuns the enemy for 1 second. Not that long, but it does do damage and it covers a wide area. It's good crowd control. You have Manly Shout, which attracts the enemies. It's quite good. You have your team electro armor, so you'll find that some enemies will be elemental and they'll deal more damage than usual. So electro armor gives you protection from that. And again, you can use those elemental armor abilities more than once. There's Thunder Gun today, which is a great ability for covering crowds. Encourage, which is great because you can fill up charge meter for your party members. And Stony Gaze. All right, great. Let's have a look at Atticus's abilities. We have Vital Stab, which lowers your enemy's defense by 20. So it's similar to Spank, but I think Vital Stab does more damage overall. Let's see, Trick Shot. Okay, so he has a similar ability to Dodger, so he has Trick Shot. Dodger has Trick Shot as well. It's a great ability to have. His ultimate ability is Wonder Adrenaline, and that boosts your team charge speed by 30%, and it fills the charge speed by 20. So that means that not only is it filling up the charge meter of the whole party, or your team members, but their speed as well. So that's such a great ability. All right, so if you've played through Ghoul Busters, you'll find Atticus's abilities will look quite familiar. So let's see. On Sunday, he has a water balloon storm. It just chucks out a bunch of water balloons. It stuns the enemy. It doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but it does stun the enemies for 5 seconds, which is a fair amount of time. And then cryo and electric resistance is reduced. So if you have cryo attacks and electric attacks, they'll do extra damage after you do the water balloon storm. You have Camping Spirit, which regenerates 1 inventory item. That's extremely useful. You have Shuriken Storm, which is similar to the same move that Dodger has as his main ability. Yeah. Dynamite, chuck out some dynamite. It just covers, it's good crowd control. Startling Shout attracts the enemies. I used that earlier. You have Battle Cry, so it boosts your charge speed by 2, or it boosts, yeah, team charge speed, and then it, but defense minus 20. So there's a trade-off there. Is you're speeding up, but you're becoming more reckless, so you're going to take more damage. So maybe you'll want to balance this out somehow by boosting your defense back up. And then on Saturday is just a standard water balloon. It uses less charge than the balloon storm, so you can use it more often, but it has a much smaller range that stuns the enemy for 5 seconds. And again, your cryo and your electric defense decrease. So let's go ahead and try and find a throwing weapon for. I'm going to refresh. That costs a bit of money, but this is my developer save. I have heaps. Okay, here's a throwing knife for Dodger. Let's go ahead and win that. Why don't we? And after that, we'll take on a more difficult mission and we'll see what happens. Right, so we're in a different looking environment here. I don't have a real strategy on hand. I was just sort of looking at the abilities and sharing them with you. So it would have been better if I put Gus maybe in the middle, because his attack doesn't go that far. So he can help the party member level here. You can knock enemies back and you can help his party members, but there's no point in sticking him in the end. It's better to put a character like that in the middle. See what Ghoul That did a fair bit of damage. Oh, because I've given him a weapon now. Alright, we're going to I think Thunder Gun might miss Gus. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Startle Shout, we'll pull all of the enemies in, and then I'll Thunder Gun. And then that made sure that Dodger was able to hit all of them with Thunder Gun. Let's pull it in and hit those enemies. But you don't really want to waste Vital Stab, reduce their defense. Dodger won't really do that much damage, but their defense is reduced, so that increases the damage. Bull has just a massive amount of HP, so it's good if you can get towards them. Go ahead and Startle Shout them. Well, that puts them all in one spot, which makes it easier if you have a small range attack. It makes it easier to hit them. You sort of pull them all in together. You'll get better rewards and more rewards if you're able to complete all 4 stars. I don't have any ultimate abilities at the moment, so I'm unable to perform them. Actually, this is my development environment, so I might just give some of my characters some ultimate abilities and we can have a look at those. And I'll just breeze through this storyline a little bit. Again, you guys can watch this later. And if you have a coffee, go ahead and enjoy yourself a coffee. All right, I might just have a look at my save data here, and I'm going to give some characters some ultimate abilities. Just a moment, please. Okay, so I want to go to my save data. And where are my ultimates here? Go ahead and give myself an ultimate there. I don't want to spend all day long doing my game chart codes. A couple of these in here. My dog appears to have detected some sort of threat on the premises. He's growling. I'm not sure which characters now have access to their abilities. I'm just sort of game sharking right in there. Alright, let's have a look. Oh, right. Anti-Gant Type. Let's have a look at Gus. Gus now has access to Rocket Uppercut. That's going to be great. We'll use that in the next battle and we'll have a look. And Dodger now has access to Knives Tornado. Let's go ahead and have a look at that as well. So we can give Dodger a throwing knife. That's great. His power goes up by 7. Didn't have any special abilities attached. Go ahead and item in there. If you have a look at the item shop, you'll see that you can drink a moose juice. You can give yourself 40 charge for your moose juice 4-pack, which is 30 for the whole team. I'll buy some of those. And your cheesy moose antlers will be 60 charge for the whole team. You also have waking lotion, which wakes up. Although single waking lotion will wake up anyone that's directly next to you, and the waking lotion will wake up the entire party. It doesn't sound like that's not that big. It doesn't sound like it's a big deal in terms of placement. But say, for example, if Gus uses the waking lotion, he can only reach Dodger. If Dodger uses a waking lotion, he can reach Atticus and Gus. So there is strategy to giving the items to certain characters. Or you can just, use the 4-pack and everyone can wake up. You may have also noticed some characters have less item slots than others. So Gus only has 1 item slot, while Dodger has 2 item slots. Let's go ahead and give him a second item. And let's see how many Atticus. Atticus has 3 item slots. That's pretty great. Let's just fill those up. And Bull has 2 item slots, which is pretty great because he's a slow character. So if you give him, you can slam down some moose juice and some cheesy moose antlers, and that will let Bull catch up to the other party members because it takes a while for him to charge up his energy. So let's now do a bit more difficult mission now. All right, I might get my butt kicked here because my levels are still a bit low. So now this is going to be a little bit more involved here. So now, if you have a look at strong, you can see that sound is now on the list. So if you have sound abilities, they'll do extra damage, and your light melee will do more damage. I don't have any characters that use light melee in this party, so I won't benefit from that. But let's see, weak is light. So light will do less damage to enemies, and handguns will do less damage. I don't have to worry about that because I'm not using those in this team. So let's see what happens. I suspect I'm going to have a tougher time with this battle because my characters are still lower level. Gus is the only one that is at a reasonable level, and it says the enemy levels are 5. So it's going to be a bit tough for me. Let's find out what happens. All right, right away I'm going to slam down a 4-pack of moose juice, and you can see everyone's energy has gone up a little bit. I'm gonna, let's see, I want Gus to do a fair bit of damage here. Alright, and then Atticus is already, oh no, Bull got killed already. Okay, that's, uh-oh. Yeah, this isn't gonna work out for me. This ain't gonna work out. So my characters were just too low level. They've already been built. I've wasted a 4-pack of those juice. Alright, so you can see if you try to keep spamming your attack, you're going to do less and less damage because you're not letting your charge meters fill up. This is a bad mission for me. I'm gonna re-roll. But you can see, even at level 5, I'm at the same level as the enemies. And if all my party members are level 5, this would be a fair battle. So you can see, pretty quickly you can get overpowered, but there are ways to boost your characters as well. For example, you can go to the Frying Saucer Diner, and you can chat with other characters there. If you chat with them, it gives you boosts for the next mission. So we'll do that in a bit. We'll see what happens. I got a hat there. Thank you, Gus. Talk to Cordero from the Heavy Shadow novel. Let's see. I got a 4-pack of first aid. Thank you for that. Very nice. We have Annie Oakley from 3 Down Stars. Cool. I got some revive items. So that was a bit rough on my characters. Let's have a look at, I'm going to click on team. Let's see. Everyone's at level 0, aren't they? Yeah, this is a developer's save file, so I haven't actively been playing this one. When I test, I play the game on actual hardware, so that's where I have characters with equipment and levels. So we're going to have to do a bit of an easier mission. I might just show you a boss fight though. So when you have a look at the screen, if characters have items equipped, you'll see that their soul type is displayed and their weapon is displayed as well. So you can see if you're preparing for a mission, that gives you a quick read on what characters you might want to put into your party. All right. So just to take a look at a few more characters here, let's go ahead and have a look at some favorites. We have... I'm looking at the screen sideways, so it's things are escaping me a little bit here. All right, we have Holt, Annalise, and Moss. And let's go ahead and chuck Arnold in there. So we have 4 of our dudes from 3 Down Stars, which did get the update for North America a couple weeks ago on Christmas. So feel free to update 3 Down Star and enjoy the content and the improvements. And if you are enjoying that, please let me know that you're enjoying it. I worked extremely hard on that update. Let's see, Moss can use a long gun. So Holt uses light melee, as you can see there. We'll look at their menus in a moment. Do I have another long gun? I have a bear rifle. Fantastic. Okay. What? Oh no. Yeah, Arnold needs throwing. Okay, let's go ahead and get a weapon for Arnold in the next mission. Put some equipment on. I'm not really going to pay attention to the equipment. I'm just going to slap it on. Let's see here. It is good to spend some time seeing what works best for your character. But at the moment, I'm just looking at the moves here. Let's have a look at Holt. Let's see. So his power... So he's generally, like 3 Down Stars, Holt is generally quite balanced, but he generally favors close range melee combat over firearms. Let's see here. So we have Vigorous Camper, and that is +1 of each item. So that's a great ability. So if I were to equip that, because Holt has Vigorous Camper, I can actually use that item an extra time in battle. So the first time I use it, it won't get consumed. It means that I carry 2 of those into battle. So that's great, which means he doesn't just have 2 items, he actually has 4 items. So he gets to duplicate them. Let's see, so he's quite balanced in terms of equipment. He doesn't really get a great boost on anything, but he gets the 120 on the jacket, and then his gloves, eyewear, and jewelry is at 80%. So he's pretty balanced in terms of equipment, and he has an artistic soul, which is quite good. I mean, there's nothing. You don't get a stat boost from it. It's not good today, but maybe tomorrow it'll be artistic soul type, and then he'll get a boost that day. So, and we use light melee. So generally, light melee has a little bit more stun time than the other weapons, but the knockback is not very good. Let's have a look at Holt's abilities. We have Electro Shot, which stuns enemies for 1 second. So again, not a long stun time, but it does reach quite far, and it does a fair bit of damage. Thunder Gun is his soul ability, and it stuns the enemies for 2 seconds. And Galaxy Kick is his ultimate, which I do have access to, so I'll use that in the next battle. And then boosts your own power and defense by 30%. That's pretty rad. That's pretty rad. And Inspire. So let's have a look at Holt's daily abilities. We have Megaphone, which stuns your enemies for 5 seconds. That's a great ability. Soccer Kick, and that reduces the enemy's power by 20. First Aid, so the party members that are directly next to you will get a little bit of health. We have Electro Amplify, and that's great. That means that Wednesday is probably the best day for Holt, because he can boost his Thunder Gun and his Electro Shot. Testers were telling me that that's an effective strategy that they were employing. They're saying they're getting massive amounts of damage with Hold. And you can keep using that as many times as you want. There's no limit to how much you can boost your elemental strengths. And we have Inspire. It's very good because it's a better form of Encourage that fills in your ally's charge meter by 45. And Rock Throw, that yeah, it goes pretty far. It reduces the enemy's speed. Saturday, team training, and boosts team technique by 20%. It's pretty rad. That's damage output for the whole team goes up. All right, let's have a look at Annalise here. So her jacket, her vest are 80%, but eyewear and jewelry, that's a nice boost. So eyewear is 120%, and jewelry, you get a 130% boost. So if I had jewelry equipment, I would probably want to make sure I give those to Annalise. Generally, they tend to focus on technique and speed when it comes to jewelry anyway, and that fits Annalise's playstyle. So you can see her power isn't quite great, but her charge speed is very high, and it continues to grow. And that she's really a good support type character. She doesn't have great damage output, but she does have access to the flame element, and she can boost her flame element. So if you play your cards right, you can just keep boosting her flame element, and then after a couple of her turns, she can deal out massive amounts of damage. But it takes some work to put in. But overall, she's a great support character that can actually deal massive amounts of damage if you set up correctly. So we have Flame Shot, Flamethrower, so she's the flame counterpart to Holt's abilities. Planetary Breath is her ultimate, which I have access to, and that fills in your ally's charge by 60, that's the best team charge fill ability there is. So we'll be using that in the next battle. So she's a great character to have if you can team her up with slower characters. If they're all high damage slow characters, if you have her Planetary Breath, you could spam that for the whole match. Just keep speeding her up and Planetary Breath because she has Sprint. So let's start on Sunday. We have Sweep Kick, and it actually reaches your party members next to you, so that's quite a nice ability. Flame Amplify boosts her own flame abilities. Sprint is great. So if Tuesday's a great day for Annalise. If you have Sprint and Planetary Breath, I would recommend sprinting twice at the start of the battle and then just spamming Planetary Breath for the rest of it so that your other party members, if they're slower, high damage characters, that's a great way to deal with bosses as well. Annalise's main weakness is that she doesn't have great maximum health, so she can be taken down very quickly. And that's where it's good to have a character like Bull who can taunt and pull enemies away. I would recommend probably putting Annalise and Bull on different ends of the battlefield, so that way Bull can pull enemies away from Annalise. You have Team Bandage here. Um, it's pretty good. It's not a big healing spell, but it's sort of like an emergency. You can probably survive another two or three hits with Team Bandage. Sprint Rally boosts your allies' speed by 2. First Aid, it restores a little bit more health, but it's only for the party member directly next to you. And we have Falling Star Kick on Saturday, and that boosts her charge speed by 20%. So that deals damage to the enemies, and it's 20% is a big boost to speed. So you can see Sprint is 3. That's a +3 on speed, whereas Falling Star Kick is well, +20%. Well, it's +2. So that at some point in my descriptions, +2 is the same thing as +30%. I was trying to um, uh, make all the descriptions consistent, but I think this one slipped through early in development. I referred it to percentages, but then after that I took percentages out. So this is one where that just happened to slip through. I think that might be one of the only descriptions where I left the percentage in. So let's see what's going on here. Let's go ahead and hop into Battle Down. Oh wait, we haven't even had a look at Moss yet. So let's quickly go through Moss. Anyway, this whole video is more about taking a close look at these characters. So if you're interested in the characters and the analysis, I'll keep going through that. So Moss is generally a bit slower, but he a bit higher damage output. So let's see, comeback charge. So that's +80 on Wake Up. That's pretty wild. That's such a strong ability. Okay, or skill. Let's see. So he's quite consistent in terms of his equipment. If you have a look, he's got the 80% on shoes. 90% on eyewear, 70% on jewelry. But in terms of, sorry, shirt is 80%, shoes is 130, gloves is 130, and the shirt, yeah, it's a bit rough if you have a lower percentage on shirt because there are a wide number of shirts in terms of equipment in there. But that, that's all right. Okay, so we have cryo shot, and that stuns enemies for 4 seconds. So Moss has the cryo element. He's the cryo component of Holt's and Annalise's abilities. He has a blizzard gun, which is great. Comet Wrecker is his ultimate, and that stuns enemies for 5 seconds. It does a huge amount of damage as well. So on Sunday, he has Rest, which recovers some of his health. A Stare Down, so it reaches pretty far, and let's see, enemies, defense and power is -20, which is pretty rad. You have Tough Rally, that boosts your allies' defense by 40%. That's such a great ability. First Aid Lesson, so that actually increases your healing power. So when you use a healing ability, it has more of an effect. That's important. This is such an important aspect to the combat system, is increasing your ability to heal, because that means that your weaker, faster first aid um, abilities will now be more viable during difficult fights. Okay, slap down, so your enemy power is reduced, and your cryo amplify, again, that boosts your own ability to deal elemental damage. And you have meteor breaker, that is enemy's defense -30, and it does a fair amount of damage as well, but it has a very small attack range. And we'll have a quick look at Arnold here. We have Brave Death, so it heals allies' HP upon defeat. So that's very helpful. It's very useful. But Arnold has a fair bit of health, so um, he's less likely to be killed before the other party members, but it depends on what's happening in combat. If the enemies happen to target him. So his shirt, it's only 70%, but his jacket is 125, his hat is 120, vest is 110, his shoes aren't great, gloves is 125. So he actually, I'd say it's above average for Arnold. That's well above average in terms of his equipment, and his jewelry's at 60%. No big deal. And Arnold's ability is Uppercut, so that stuns enemies for 4 seconds. You have Planetary Armor is his soul, so Planetary Armor, it boosts your ice, electricity, fire, wind, and water resistance by 25%, and your healing goes up by 10%. That's a crazy soul ability. That's extremely good. Um, yeah, it's such an important ability to have, and I think that's one of the best soul abilities in the game, and it's such a great way to, when you go up against difficult enemies that have elemental attacks, you really want to have Arnold on your team for that. You have Cryo Cannon. Um, the cannon moves are the strongest elemental abilities in the whole game, and we have Stun the enemy for 6 seconds, but it also covers a wide range. It does significant damage. Let's start from Sunday. We have Team Cryo Amplify, so that boosts your ability to do cryo damage. So he's actually a good one to pair up with Moss, because Moss uses cryo abilities. So if you can boost Moss's cryo attacks. You have Thunder Gun, um, and that stuns enemies for 2 seconds. And those of you that have played through 3 Down Stars and finished the story mode and started a new game plus, you'll know what this means. You have Oil Spill. It stuns the enemies for 3 seconds, and again, your flame resistance. So he's good to team up with Annalise, because Annalise uses flame ability, so that's a great ability for that as well. You have Team Radiation Armor, which boosts your radiation resistance by 30%. Also, if enemies are radioactive, then during that mission you are going to continually take radioactive damage, uh, unless you use something like Radiation Armor. That protects your whole team, and you'll stop taking radiation damage over time. You have Hammer Knuckle, so that boosts your own power and defense by 10%. It's a pretty good daily skill. I actually quite like that ability. Then you have Team Breather, which recovers some HP. So it's not a lot, but it can be helpful. It can save you from getting killed. And you have Muscle Flex on Saturday, so that boosts your own power by 30%. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and hop into a mission, and let's try and win a throwing weapon, so I'll do it. Maybe I'll restart it. I'm looking for a throwing weapon. What have we got? Nope. We got a gun, handgun, some materials, a shotgun. Again, this is my developer save file, so I have tons of money. I just game sharked tons of money in there. But if this were my normal gameplay save file, I would probably just wait an hour because I wouldn't want to waste my moose tokens like this. This is such a wasteful way to spend your moose tokens. But if you you can see there's some underwear there. Um, what you get if you've played through Down Stars and you've explored town and you've met some people frozen time, you might recognize where those are from. Let's see here. Come on, I just want a throwing weapon. Dang. Dang, dang. Actually, yeah, casual, you're less likely to find weapons. It's when you go to challenges, you're more likely to get weapons there, but I'm not high enough level for that. These characters are all sort of zeros and ones, aren't they? So, oh, yeah, throwing hatchet. Okay, I'll take that. I'll take that. And again, casual is meant for... I designed the game and I was really taking into account grown-ups. We're quite limited on time, aren't we? Sometimes we just want to play a game and we've had a long day, a long week, and we don't necessarily want to do something extremely taxing and stressful. So I created casual missions to be very easy, and it's just a nice, easy way to enjoy the game and build up your materials. So you get weapons, you get materials, and you're not necessarily... there's a low risk of you getting killed and fail. There's a pretty good chance that you'll finish the mission and you'll get that quickly. And that's what casual missions are for. But the rewards are not necessarily as good as the other missions. So there's a balance there. So you can see Moss can actually do well if he was on the edges. So he can be either at the top or the bottom slot. He can still reach and protect his whole team with his standard attack. He can also hit forward a fair amount. So it didn't do that much damage overall, but it did use these stats. What is Bolt have? Oh, I'll use my... that fully did just 3,000. Okay, and that's why your hulking abilities are really important. I'll have a look at Planetary Breath. Let's have a look at everyone's charge meters. And you can see their charge meters just jumped up like crazy. He doesn't charge Annalise's own meter. That would be cheating, I think. Okay, so I got boosted here. Yeah, he doesn't have a weapon, so he doesn't do that much damage. So actually, what I'm going to do, because I have Holt and Annalise's ultimates, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do a more difficult mission, because I think I can take those on. So I got a throwing weapon for Arnold. I got a shirt, but it's kind of crappy. It's a level 0. I don't really want that. And you can sell the equipment you don't want for more moose tokens, so that's quite good. Yeah, this is part of the story where Holt joins Search Party. But again, this is my developer save file. I have all the characters unlocked. So let's go ahead and breeze through this. I hope this isn't spoiling anything. I hope that when the game launches, people enjoy the story at their own pace. There's no need to rush through it. There's no environment or world for you to walk around and explore. It's all based around this hub. That's why I call this a battle RPG, because the intention and the focus of the game is a deeply complex battle system. Alright, let's give Arnold a throwing weapon. It's this guy. Do I have it? I have almost no materials whatsoever. Alright, so what I want to do is I want to move Holt to a middle slot so I can take advantage of his Galaxy Kick. Do we have Moss? Oh, we don't have Moss's ultimate. Helmet Wrecker. What a bummer. Alright. I'm just going to go to my team, and I'm going to swap them around. So I'll put... Annalise's ability works anywhere, so... let's flip that around. I'll put Annalise in the first slot, and I'll put Holt in the second slot. Alright. I'll do a more difficult mission now. Let's go ahead and refresh. So you get a vest, you get some materials on the challenge one. What we got? We got a heavy melee. I'm just going to refresh again. We're getting more materials here. Crossbow, we got a shirt. Here we got a cowboy hat. We need some weapons, man. And 250 is quite, it's a lot of moose tokens. I'm not getting anything. This is just a bad roll for me today, you know? Let's see. Gotta keep going here. There's a long gun. Alright, you know what, we'll just take this. We'll take that, whatever that is. So you see there's a warning here. I'm gonna go ahead and hit this warning button. And it says enemies deal damage to anyone who has an artistic soul. That's going to make things a challenge for this particular mission because that means Holt is going to take extra damage. Excuse me. Let's see, long guns deal extra damage, which is good for Moss, and handguns deal less damage, so enemies will deal less damage. So you can see every mission has such specific requirements that if you try to use the exact same team again every single time, you're going to have a very difficult time. But I have, this is still a low-level mission. This is only, oh, I didn't check, did I? What I am going to do is just rely on Holt's ultimate here, and hopefully that carries me. All right, so I just want to I need to get out of Planetary Breath really quickly here. I'm gonna get killed if I Here we go. Galaxy Kick, and then I'm going to Planetary Breath immediately afterwards. So I did a fair bit of damage there. Got my Planetary Breath. What does Arnold have? Hammer Knuckle. Try and stop that guy. Oh no! Come on. I need to get that pair of poster here. Oh, they're not doing that much damage anyway. You know what? I'm in a Galaxy Kick. I'm going to Planetary Breath here. I'll get some enemies there. I got my 4 shots of damage out. Planetary Breath again. Alright, that should me. Hold on, my enemies real good there. If I had Blizzard Gun, if I had my Soul type for Moss, Blizzard, see, this is not, the enemies are avoiding Moss this time, but if I had Blizzard Gun, that'd be great. Cryo Shot only hits straight forward, so it's not that useful. If I waited a second, so spacing and timing you can see is extremely important. If I'd waited just a little longer, I could have got that bear as well. But Annalise has access to Planetary Breath. So you can see when you have your ultimate abilities, they 100% change the way that you do battles, because now there are strategies that you can use that you normally would not have access to. So you can see there's some crazy combinations in terms of who is in your team that Annalise is now able to allow them to take more actions. And of course the trade-off is that Annalise is, I wouldn't call her a glass cannon because it takes time for her to build up to do damage, but sort of a, I don't know, like a glass pillar, because she can hold up the rest of the team. She can hold them up very well, but if she gets hit, that's pretty much the end of it. So not a glass cannon, she's a glass pillar. And I wanted to create an interesting dynamic in the party. I'll try a battle, boss battle. We'll see. I'm gonna get slaughtered, but we'll see what happens. But I wanted to create interesting battles that just feel different every time you go into them. It's something, you know, your approach can be totally different. You can experiment with different ideas. I'll just try this one. I'll get a nice bow, and enemies deal extra damage to anyone who has a brave soul. Yeah, I'll do that. And strong. Moss's cryo abilities will do extra damage here, and all the enemies' attacks are light. Oh, I don't have any of armor for that. Oh well, let's do it. Oh, I should have carried some moose juices. That would have just given me an early start if I had slammed down a moose juice 4-pack in the beginning. So. Okay. Yeah, my dog's going crazy. He's running around. All right. That'd be great if I had some soul abilities on those characters. Okay. Oh no. Yeah, bosses attack one character at a time, and then they move up and down. I don't know if Galaxy Kick is going to reach. I wasn't thinking. Got him. All right. I'm going to Planetary Breath, and then I'm going to use my Cryo Shot with Moss very quickly here. Cryo Shot. No! Oh, I didn't pay attention. I missed. So again, your placement is extremely important. You really need to pay attention. Uh-oh. Arnold's taking a hit there, and then Galaxy Kick. Oh, he took down Moss. Come on, Planetary Breath again. I got to get my kick shot. If I can get enough kicks in, I might be able to take the boss there. Galaxy Kick again. Uh-oh. No. Don't kill Annalise. Okay, come on. Is this it? Is this the last hit? Yeah! That was pretty exciting. All right. So you can see that was my whole strategy was just using my Planetary Breath and then using another character's ultimate ability, which is Galaxy Kick. And that, I don't know, I thought that was pretty exciting. The other two got knocked out. So you can see if Annalise had been knocked out, and she could have gotten killed pretty easily, Glass Pillar, then I would have had no hope during that battle. You can see that Holt was doing tons of damage with that Galaxy Kick. But again, you don't always have access to your ultimate abilities. You have to do the boss fights in order to get your ultimates. And so if we have a look at the abilities here, so I have 7 days left. If we have a look on my ultimate, I have 7 days left. So that's pretty much all we'll take a look at today. If there are any other characters that you would like me to analyze and have a look at, please let me know. I don't want to spoil the whole roster here. I mean, I sort of flipped through it pretty quickly, but if you happen to see a character you like, then there we are. So please look forward to the game launching. Go on social media, let Nintendo know that you're looking forward to the Silver Falls games that are still going to launch on the Wii U and 3DS. Let them know, please hurry, you know. I don't know if there's anything else that we can do other than to let Nintendo know that we really do want these games and we want them out as soon as possible. So I don't want to spoil anything else here, but people have asked, are Gold and Oxa from Guardians and Metal Exterminators, will they be in this? Yes, they will. If you use Code Linker for Guardians and Metal Exterminators, you'll get Gold, but Oxa does not come with him. Oxa will be brought in from Code Linker through a different game, which is going to be a future Silver Falls title, which has yet to be announced or revealed. So Oxa won't be recruitable in this until much later on. But speaking of Oxa, she's just here in the campsite. Let's have a look at her. Let's see. Oh, she brought me a shirt. All right. So you can see she's still rocking her sort of signature 80s purple, like her jumpsuit from the 80s. So she still seems to like that color. So I will do a distribution event after the game launches. So if people want Oxa, for a limited time, I'll be distributing codes so you can add Oxa to your team. And then you can have a reunion team of Gold and Oxa. And you actually, yeah, you can have a reunion with Winnie as well. So Winnie's from Guardians and Metal Exterminators. And yeah, you'll be able to get Winnie through a future, currently unannounced Silver Falls title. She'll be code link content in. So thank you very much for watching. I don't know how long this has been running, but I hope that this information in terms of the character analysis and the battle system, I hope that was interesting to you. So please take care of yourselves, be well, and I'll share more details and news as soon as I can. See you soon in Silver Falls. Take care.